rise to the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call.
Chapman?
Here.
Mark? Here. Bubba?
Here.
Patton?
Here.
Richard?
Here.
Tyler?
Here.
Roger.
Have a couple additions to the agenda. Under action item C, branding. Under action item D, resolution number 2. Anybody have anything else? Need a motion to approve the agenda as corrected.
I'll make that motion.
Been moved and supported to accept the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Approval of the minutes of March 13th, 2019, regular board meeting. Need a motion to approve?
I make motion to approve.
Support?
I'll support.
Yeah, motion and support to approve the minutes of March 13th meeting. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed, motion is carried. Public comment. Lenore, I'll let you go first.
Thank you, Larry. I am Lenore Reeder, Superintendent of Central Lake Public Schools, and I wanted to make the community aware of an upcoming emergency drill that we are doing. All schools, as I'm sure you know by law, are mandated to conduct multiple drills during the school year, fire, tornado, and lockdown, which is phenomenal, and our school is very good at it. Our students are respectful, our teachers are responsible, and we do it well. What's never been done is given practice to the emergency agencies that will be the responders. I don't know what they would know what to do when they got it. So we're going to practice that. It's a wonderful opportunity for our first responders and law enforcement personnel, but it's going to look scary. So I want everybody to know it's a drill. So I'm publishing this information everywhere. It's going to be June 19th. No students are going to be in the buildings. We're going to have volunteers acting as school students, teachers, victims. The law enforcement agencies out of Bel Air, the Antrim County, have been incredibly helpful. They're very excited. I hear regularly that nobody else is asked to do that in school. They did something similar down at Meadowbrook. And so it's just a really good practice. I do not expect this to ever happen here. I truly don't. I feel completely 180% safe in this community, and I think our children and our families do as well. But I would venture to say that so did everybody else and every other school that went through this. So I'm asking your help to spread the word. I've got it on Facebook. I'm going to get a story in the paper. I'm going to send a similar letter as this to all of the businesses in town. So on June 19th, our schools, both buildings will be locked down. The roads will be blocked. To what degree, I don't know, because I'm kind of out of the loop. It's supposed to be, I'm not supposed to know. I'm a participant, so I can't know very much ahead of time.
So you don't even know what time this starts, eh?
We are going to be there at 7:30 in the morning. We're going to do a briefing, and then nope, after that I don't. There will be a morning and an afternoon practice.
So school will be out
Yes.
by June 19th, okay.
But there will be the whole sirens running into town, because they're coming from wherever they're going to come from.
The fire department does have a large traffic sign that we put out when we're doing a training exercise. If you,
I'm assuming somebody's going to take care of that.
that would maybe,
Leslie Myers is managing all of that through Antrim County.
When is school out?
Well, that's a good question. Right now, our last day is scheduled for June 10th. The legislature has been in session and they're considering granting us additional days because of the state of emergency. That decision hasn't been made yet. Any questions from anybody for me?
You're more than welcome to stay.
I would stay a little while.
And I'm Kelly Young, and I realize I'm not on the new business agenda, but we had met a few weeks ago with Brian and Scott and Larry, and then had a call with the attorneys, and so I understand you guys are going to be holding a planning commission meeting
And it won't happen at least until after the 18th.
till after the 18th? Okay, cool. So just I wanted to catch you guys up to speed that based on your decision to pass the ban on recreational marijuana, I am going to move forward with putting it on a public vote and a ballot, meaning that I'll be drafting my own ordinance. And so with that being said, I would definitely welcome and encourage any council members that have strong opinions and any community leaders as to how they would like that ordinance to be written, to reach out to me. This is a community effort, and I firmly believe that these businesses can bring good paying jobs to the community. And I'm going to do what I feel is right in my heart, but I definitely am open to listening to your feedback and comments. So you all have my information from previous things, and Rachel has my information as well. You're welcome to contact me at any time.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else? Patty?
I'm Patty Dawson, and I just want to let everyone know I took over as the director of the library as of April 1st. And we've had a lot of changes at the library. We've hired all new staff. Claire's one of them. And then Emily Schaefer and Mary Loper are all my new staff. And what I'm trying to do, what I'm here is, I want to ask for any help you guys would be willing to give. I'm trying to set a strategic plan for the library. And what that's going to be is I want to focus on the community and what the library does to the community, but what the community wants the library to do. And that's, like with a strategic plan, you start at the top and you figure out how we get there. So I'm just, if anybody has any input on what they would like, or what they see as something that they want to see, I am very much going to focus on getting into the community. I would like to, if they would have me, I'd like to go to the school on a regular basis. I'd like to go to the youth center on a regular basis, and just make the library more of a community place, even if you don't come into the library. If you never step through the doors, there are so many things that a library can provide you with. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I just want to let you introduce myself and let you guys all know that here I am.
Thank you, Patty. Any questions? Okay. Sherry, did you have something you wanted to say?
Public comment, yes, chamber updates, sent out a newsletter, I don't know how many get it, but the auction date's been set, and that is May 11, the Blue Pelican. And the car show this year is June 15. It is the same weekend as the M88 Outdoor Market, so happened to fall on the same weekend, yes, okay. And so it's going to be a very busy weekend that weekend. It's also the postal carrier food drive on one of those. I'm trying to think which date.
Is it a weekday or weekday? Or weekend?
I'll look at my calendar now. I'll have to get back to you on that one. It's one of those dates. So,
That it?
that's it.
Very good. I think that's all the public we have in here, so. Reports, Scott, police report?
Thank you. Hopefully everybody got a chance to look at the report. We are starting to pick up. Our stats, or at least our numbers from last month, are kind of almost doubled, which is kind of where we normally are, probably a little bit higher as it gets more through summer. Started out at the beginning of the month with some of the school events with districts and stuff like that. That was the end of February, beginning of March. After that, pretty much everything was focused on getting the new officer hired, equipment, training, firearms, medical, all that stuff. So it took quite a while. She's been with me the last couple of weeks. Plan is probably at least one more week. We'll see how it goes. She's doing really well, picking up things extremely fast. I'm actually kind of shocked. I was telling somebody the other day, I mentioned something to her and she like, oh yeah, you told me that last Thursday or something like that. So she's, really sharp and picking up on things. Today I kind of let her fly solo a little bit this morning and then kind of do that, kind of ship her on our way sometime. I kind of told her, unfortunately, we don't have the luxury like the sheriff's department has where they can, shadow people for 6, 8, 10 months at a time. You kind of got to hit the floor running here, so, and she's doing really well. If you have any input, positive or negative, that you can feed back to her, she'll really appreciate that. She's new at this type of job, but she's from the community, so she has a heart and a compassion for things that she's doing here. So, a lot of court appearances, more than normal, and then I just put down here vehicle maintenance. We had some battery issues, which is no big deal. Got those taken care of. So, but start to pick up, which is actually a good thing. So everybody's coming back, and most of all of our property checks for the winter, they're home now. So just a couple. Any questions?
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Sam's not here, finally he was on vacation. But there's the most recent issue that they've been dealing with is we've had some issues between the well that's up by the ball diamond, softball diamond, and the communication between the two wells, that one and the tower out on Bunker Hill Road. They've had issues with that. So there has been a couple of customers who have seen groundwater coming through their system. And they've been told that we are aware of it and we're also working on it. So the only other thing that I think is important is that the village would like to remind residents that if you have a brush pile that you would like the DPW crew to pick up, all you need to do is call the village office, 544-6483, and the clerk will arrange for the DPW to pick it up. Restrictions are 6 inches in diameter and 4 feet long in the brush. I think the primary issue with that, as far as the DPW boys are concerned, is that they pick it up on their schedule, not on somebody else's schedule. So it may sit there for 2 or 3 or 4 days or a week, but they will get to it. So, other than that, I think.
I'd like to go back to item 4, put 4x4 on the boat docks. What they did is they put 4x4 vertical posts on all the new treated permanent boat docks. So they're ready to go for the spring so people can tie off. So hopefully we'll have more people using those boat docks to go uptown. And like I said, they did a great job on it. It looks top notch. I just wanted to make sure that that got pointed out. That's all I have on that.
We'll move on, correspondence. Everybody got a packet for the Chamber of Commerce newsletter. So it looks like we've got a fairly active summer coming up. And hopefully we can all participate and make it a success. Beyond that, I don't have any other correspondence.
Title in for May 2nd,
I think it's at Shanty Creek, isn't it? There's not listeners. Committee reports, Lyle, streets,
I don't have anything, so good.
okay. Leela,
Nothing new.
okay,
Sam takes care of everything.
I know. Bill, law enforcement,
Scott covered it really well, I have nothing.
okay. And Matt, communications,
Nothing to report.
Brian,
I don't have anything this month.
Rob, arts,
Let's see, next week when Sam gets back, we're gonna look into getting some bids on electrical hookups in the campground, possibly getting a couple more sites. And on the extended stay, I've been telling you people about this for 9 months now. We're finally gonna get the bid now in the spring. just to see what'll happen to get 20 amp service up on the hill without sewer. And I realized after talking to Jennifer after the last meeting, we have to go through the health department, and things like that. So we're just gonna go and get bids first and see if it's even feasible. That's the one thing. We're gonna talk about our little sign deal on action item D. Let's see, and then action item C, advertisement in the bathroom, that's an action item. I spent 4 hours organizing, cleaning out that maintenance room between the bathrooms there. It's ready to go. Rachel got a bunch of things organized, we itemized, so we're ready to go when the people start to show up. Jennifer, you're gonna talk about this, right? That's
Yes.
gonna be you? All right, that's all I've got.
Okay. I've got a pretty good sized list. To the council and anybody that's interested, we do have a copy of the audit from our last year, fiscal year. We just received those today. I have not had a chance to look at it yet, but I suggest over the next month that if you need to fall asleep at night, that'd be a good read for you. But that, if there's any issues or concerns, we'll bring them up next meeting. I did authorize Scott to find a printer for his office that did everything that he wanted to do, and he did that. He contacted the company in Traverse City that has the contract on the one in Rachel's office, and I think that's a nice addition, and it'll help his operation considerably, so. Sam has also requested, and I forgot about it until we were talking. They have replaced the fluorescent lights in one of the bays in the garage with the maintenance money that was budgeted for that, which I think was $500. They did all the work themselves. It has brightened up and made that environment a whole lot nicer, and he's requested that they could do it to the other bays. And replace them with all LEDs, so I think in the long run, they're gonna do all the work. It's just a matter of supplying the materials, and since it's not on the agenda, I'll ask you to consider that, and we'll put it on the agenda for next month to, oh, yep, never mind. I'm better than I thought I was. Anyway, well, you know, I remember talking and telling Rachel, but I looked down at that and said, that's not there. Anyway, okay, we'll move on from that. The DDA met last night, and not a lot was accomplished other than the spirit of cooperation exists between the business people that are on that committee, the village that are on that committee, and the chamber that's on that committee. So we're going to try to keep things rolling along. I'll talk about branding later under action items. That was one topic of discussion last night. So, as Kelly Young mentioned, we had a conference call with her attorney, our attorney, and Kelly and I, and the attorneys got to speak to each other about the marijuana, the CBD oil, the changes that occurred on March 28th, which was, I think, 2 weeks ago last Friday, or a week ago last Friday. March 28th anyway, which I was unfamiliar with, but the attorneys were familiar with. And we got done with that conversation, and Brian Graham, our attorney, said that he wants to come in and talk with our planning commission to go over the definition changes and what could be done with our existing ordinance to redefine primarily the CBD oil that she is handing out to the cancer patients and the other. As far as recreational use, I made it clear to her attorney that we had passed the ordinance that disallowed it, and suggested to Kelly that if she wanted to initiate a ballot proposal for the community, whether it be just the village or the village and the township, to vote on that, whether or not we want to allow it. I said that's about your only recourse, because I don't think the council's going to change our mind. So if you can convince us that the majority of the public would like that to happen, then we'll go that route. And as you heard tonight, she intends to do that, so.
And on that, very quick, don't mind if I interrupt.
No.
This morning on Fox News, there was a segment about CBD oils. So, I mean, if anybody does want to go back and look at the internet and reach, it's a really good interview, and informational.
Walgreens and CVS pharmacies are getting into the business, so, and I felt all along that because there is no psychoactive element to that oil, that I don't think we could stop it. But at least by going through this process, the attorneys can tell us what's right and what's not right, and we can proceed from there. So,
She's moving forward and honest about it,
yeah, she is.
not trying to hide anything.
No, I admire her approach to all of it. I just don't agree to all of it. That's all. We put an ad in this week's and next week's paper for a caretaker for the flower beds and baskets. I do have one village resident that I intend to contact, but I thought it best that we also put it out for advertising in case there might be others out there that are gung-ho about doing it. So it pays a salary of $3,570, and it has a supply budget of $1,900. So, and I also had a village resident volunteer to refurbish the clock if we agreed to pay for the paint, and I agreed. And that'll happen once the weather warms up. And there's some nicks and things in it, and the lettering on it have faded in the last 15 years, so I thought it was a good idea. And we got free labor to do it, and it'll probably cost us $20 a paint. So. And that's all I have, unless somebody else has something for me. We'll move on. Approval of the bills, prepaid $33,762.96, payroll of $6,475.98, payables of $13,389.44, for a total of $53,628.38. Make a motion to approve, pay the bills.
Make a motion to approve.
Got a move and a second. Roll call, please.
Captain?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Loveless?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Griffin?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Becker?
Okay, we'll move on to new business. Brush cleanup we've already talked about, and I've already talked about the common area caretaker. So if anybody has somebody that they know might be of interest, have them get a hold of me. And we'll see how this all works out. So we'll move on to action items. And I explained to you what A is about, and that's to increase the maintenance budget so they can replace the lights in the 3 bays that have not been changed yet.
Is that $500 is what they need to do the other half? Is that?
They spent the 500. I asked Sam what he thought. He said probably about $600. But from my perspective, we ought to put $1,000 back into it, and just so there is something in there. If something else happens, we can do that. So.
Well, we're gonna save that in the long run, eventually.
Oh, yeah, eventually with the LED lights will be fluorescence for sure. So.
How do you have the money to do it?
Yeah, we can transfer it in. Yep, no problem.
Just from a mere safety perspective, it's a whole lot nicer, brighter, so.
It's so dark in there all the time.
Go ahead and make the motion.
I'll support it.
And moved and supported that we do that. We're not spending money, we're moving money, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Everywhere you go advertising. Rob, would you like to speak to that?
I brought it up last month, the month prior. Everywhere you go advertising puts in little frames in our bathrooms in the campground. One frame will be dedicated for them and their advertisers. We'll get one frame that we can use. For example, we could put something about the car show in the other frame. So when people use the bathroom, they can see the car show or other community events.
So it's changeable.
It's changeable. Ours is changeable on our own.
We can change it ourselves.
Yes. They come in and change their own advertising. Like maybe Shepler's Ferry will be in there 1 week. Maybe the Chief Golf Course is in there another week. They're already in at the school. And I already talked to Lenore about it. And
They're very reliable. They take good care of it.
we'll do a 1-year contract. And I said 1 frame will be ours, 1 frame will be the advertisers. Out of cost to the village, 0. But I want everybody to know, and I think we should vote on it. Questions?
That's a good idea. I'll make that motion if you need it.
Okay, we got a motion to participate in the Everywhere advertising. Been moved and supported, any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried.
I'll call them tomorrow, thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna go to D instead of C, resolution number 2. We've all got a copy of the resolution. What this does is it turns the parks, pavilions, into a no smoke environment, I guess.
This
Tobacco-free
doesn't
environment.
include the campground.
Not the
Just the
campground.
day part.
It's got a clause there excluding rented outdoor spaces. So the campground is rented outdoor spaces.
And they also, if you were to rent the pavilion, that you rented it and paid for it, so you could smoke at a
That's what I was
private
gonna ask, yeah.
outing. So, it would be the park pavilion, the gazebo by the river there, because that's village property too. The new pavilion that's gonna go up next to the bank. And then, I'd like to do the Lions Pavilion as well.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, and the Lions, so it would be 4 locations, new pavilion, Lions Pavilion, park pavilion, and the gazebo. Scott, your input, because you're gonna be the one that's gonna have to enforce this.
How do I say this politically correct? I think it's a great idea. I think it'll help, I mean, the comments I hear kind of unofficially is that, you know, people are playing down there with kids and stuff like that, it just, the two don't really mix very well, so.
Vaping. Bill asked if it included electronic cigarettes. That's the vaping.
And again, out of cost to the village, 0. So we'll
Health
get,
department supplies the
health
signage.
department supplies the signs. We'll have to pay for the screws to put them into the 4x4 posts.
I think it's a great idea.
Absolutely.
All right?
I'll make
Buy
that
that
motion
one.
to resolution number 2.
I'll support.
Been moved and supported to accept resolution number 2 for 2019-20, that limits tobacco use on village park and pavilion properties. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Okay, we're gonna go to branding. You all got a sheet with 3 different examples. They are different, though some folks can't recognize the differences.
Comic strip.
This is the result of Jennifer Gabris in working with the Pure Michigan folks, which was, we were allowed to work with them through the Rising Tide program. And she provided to me some other logos, and I made a decision that from what the work that she did, and she tried to introduce a loon into it, but it just didn't have the same impact. The loon's head took up the sunset and the water, the orange and blue logo, which I thought is very representative of our little community with the school. And Center for Recreation came out of the Pure Michigan folks after her discussions and whatever she said down there. So I was not going to argue with their wisdom.
See, I thought it sounded like a YMCA. When I first came up here and read it, and I go, we're getting a recreation center? And that's, I'm seeing it as a little, as, you know what I mean, a rec center with basketball and dodgeball. I mean, that's just one person's opinion, I don't.
And it's a very valid point from my perspective. But by the same token, I think with a little forcefulness in promoting that, that it would you would soon realize that it's not a recreational center of a facility. It's an area that we're trying to push on a year-round basis. We have golf, we have skiing, we have boating, we have ice fishing, we have regular fishing, we have whatever. And
So-
we're right in the middle of all of it here in northwest Michigan. We're
So,
40 miles out of Traverse, Petoskey, and Gaylord.
so your center for recreation.
Yeah, it's almost like you'd want to say Central Lake, the center of recreation.
The center of recreation. Because right now the word center is being treated as a noun. The center. Yeah, you need the in front of it, the center for
I
recreation.
think that was the original intent, was that Central Lake is central of all the recreation. We're in the middle of everything, plus we have everything here, so we're the center
Your
of
center.
recreation.
Your center,
Your center.
your center for
Your center.
recreation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, your,
That changes-
Or
that
the
changes
center
it
of.
from-
the center of. Yeah, you can go either way with that. It just seems awkward the way it is now.
Okay, and that's a valid point. That's why we brought it up, so. All right, I'll take that back to Jennifer. We'll come up with something. Now, tell me of the three there, they are different. And you may
I-
not recognize it, but you have a preference.
I like original.
I honestly and truly don't see the difference.
I can't see it myself.
You don't recognize the different fonts, right?
No,
That's where where's one?
I'll give you the clue.
You know what this one here.
Put my color glasses
The C in central is more bold on the top and less bold on the bottom. And when I saw the top one, I said, my eye goes to that C, and it detracts from the whole word, my opinion. So I asked her to pare it down, and she gave two more examples. And I think the bottom one is more appealing to the eye because it's closer to the lake than the top one or the second one is.
It's more symmetrical with it all.
That was my thought, so.
That's how you can tell the boy rocks from the girl rocks. The boys are much bolder.
That's cheesy.
Okay, so let's, we'll send this back and get the center of recreation or yours center for recreation.
your center for recreation.
ultimately, what we're trying to do, Lenore and Sherry, is we hope that we can convince the school, the township, the chamber, the DDA, the village, can use the basic logo of that sunset and tree there. And as we promote the community, ultimately we'll have a brand like Coca-Cola. Anyway, thanks for your input. I'll give it back to her and we'll bring this up again. And so no action on C, which boils us down to no old business. Any further public comment? Jennifer. Our favorite.
Best for last.
I'm gonna take you, I know you're sincere, Larry. Well, I guess going into, just to briefly talk about branding, I guess the timing was meant to be, I put on everyone's desk and something else to kind of coincide with as you're working on your logo and your brand. Working with Rob on these wayfinding signs. And so what you see in front of you, Rob gave me his, and so I took it back to our marketing department. And Heather does a very good job. And she's not an engineer, so I think that tends to help. Try to go through and create, you'll see an option A and an option B on the first sheet, and try to create, an idea of some signage. So there's, and really the only difference between option A and option B is A encompasses the entire village limits with the zoomed up view of the downtown. And then option B is the zoomed in of the downtown. And from there, you'll see the top part, which she just kind of came up with Central Lake, and again, I'm just kind of laughing as you look at the branding. And central to you, central to fun. That whole center, central. So that was, but we could definitely take what you guys ended up adopting and putting it on there. It would work very well. And then the below is all the numbers that coincide with shopping, dining, business in blue, and then on the right side is the parks and recs. We want to highlight the parks, the trail, the new pavilion we're putting in. We could even include the school, the library. And then a little column below that for community events. And I envision that just being a plastic sleeve, so when you have the car show, you guys can put that in there. So those are the two options of what we've come up with thus far for wayfinding signs. The second sheet shows some images of some examples that I would envision. The top two are more kiosks with, that you would have a couple key ones like the downtown that could be potentially solar lights, so that if people are walking in the dark, or if it's raining, they have a canopy to stand under. And usually you see communities that may have one large one, and then the other ones, and then the one below that is the conventional, where it's just mounted in smaller locations along at the docks, located throughout the village, and obviously those are cheaper. They would be laminated and weatherproof and solar resistant. And then on the right side, what you're seeing, or UV protected, I should say. And then on the right side, what we envision is they would have a sleeve on the top. So the core map would be underneath, the core language would be underneath, but there would be a border on top, which is clear, essentially plexiglass that you could peel off, and that's where you can constantly change the numbers, change the business names without actually going in with a Sharpie cross or whiteout. And so it makes it continually look professional, where you've got vinyl letters, and so that laminate that top cover can constantly come off and be accessed to swap out, businesses, amenities that you guys continue to add, things of that nature. And I bring this to your attention because I had shared with both Rob and Larry, Pat Lantrum, again, has their, they've been great stewards, and so they're offering, again, their mini grants, anywhere from, I believe, $300 to $3,000, and signage falls into that. I know it's been very important for some of you to incorporate this and promote it.
In our DDA meeting last night, I suggested, or talked about the fact of what you're saying, that Pat Lantrum was going to offer the grants. Sherry said she thought they were already just doing the signage.
Pat Lantrum is gonna be doing signage in each of the towns by the lakes.
By the lakes, but I was thinking
Yes.
within the village too.
Yeah,
This
no,
might
they're
be-
doing by the lakes.
Yeah.
But they are going to pay for the manufacturing, the installation, all,
Wonderful.
yes, all that, for ones, for all the different businesses' names on that. I haven't seen what it looks like yet. They're paying for that. They will be coming and talking about it, but, and probably asking for a little bit towards it.
Sure.
But other than that, they're paying for all of it.
And that's intended to be on the water trail
Yes.
portion more.
Yes.
So maybe to piggyback this signage, you could, because it does reference the docks, and so maybe to have some installed within the village limits, because it sounds like Pat Lantern isn't pursuing that we could still pursue the grant for those signs within the village limits at select locations.
We're still gonna need North Dock, Pavilion Dock, the pavilion, the new pavilion, I'm looking at 5 we're gonna need. I think Pat Lantern's only gonna give us probably 1,
Probably.
so.
And you may want, like I said, one of those with the actual shelter.
The shelter one should be, well, I shouldn't say should
Downtown
be,
somewhere.
downtown.
Right.
I think our rising tide money is covered. We can use that
Yep.
money for this, so
Mhm.
it's not a matter of coming out of our budget necessarily.
And
Yeah,
on
it's just,
that,
it's just another funding mechanism potentially to pursue.
Yep.
can we add, under Parks and Recreation, another item, it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then make 5 the boat launch in the park there, just south of number 3 there.
Oh, yeah, yep.
And then there's another idea too, maybe where people are out by the, not really the beach, but the beach. Put a kayak launch maybe, I don't know. Or just leave it be.
We need to get together and figure that out.
Yeah.
Larry, did you want to talk about the signage we talked about down at the Torchlight Drive?
Yeah, that came up in the DDA meeting, is to put a sign directing people off of East Torchlight Drive to come into the businesses, whether it be the Blue Pelican, the Lockers, Tavern.
Grocery store,
Sure.
Yeah.
post office.
So that's something else that we could incorporate into this.
I'm sorry.
All right.
But no, it's just something else for you guys to think about, and
Yep.
it's something fun that she enjoys doing, and our pleasure to try to help with how we can.
And,
Do you want me to give you updates on anything else?
yes,
Category B grant was submitted, so, and that's to encompass state, basically from limits to 88. And so cross your fingers, and we will hear in May. But that was a great opportunity with MDOT to get some fundage for local streets. So I worked with Sam on getting that out.
a footnote to that is that Stan Dean called me later last week, wanting to know where that was, and I said, the grant's been submitted, and he said, okay, we'll wait to see what happens with that before we talk again. So I know that he's still interested in contributing to that
Oh, great.
program, but we'll wait to see how much money we're dealing with, so,
Well, we'll find out next month.
yeah,
So that's not too bad for a turnaround.
that's what I told him, so.
The pavilion's going out for bid the end of this month, and I've gotten consensus and commitment from everyone as what we like. The bridge is out for bids currently for the rehabilitation, so we'll be getting prices for that. Same for sewer televising for all the 1980 lines, so we'll find out the condition of what our existing infrastructure looks like. We talked about the signs, and I'm finishing up the sidewalks to get that out for bid as well. So you guys are keeping me busy, which I appreciate very much. Thank you.
Okay. We appreciate you too.
Oh, thanks, Larry.
Okay, anything else, anybody? Motion to adjourn,
Support?
moved and supported to adjourn. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are done. Not bad.
We do our meeting, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave.
Oh, hi, I'm Jennifer with Hodges with Gordon Fraser. Nice to meet you too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is this where I say how convenient?
Are you in these streets?